All right. Well, good morning, everybody. Thank you for joining us today. This is a pretty awesome day for California, for the Senate, and then specifically for the California Senate Republican Caucus. We fought very hard last year to pick up some seats for the first time since 1980 in a presidential election year. And we were at 10 members for, I think, 24 hours. And now we're back to 10, and I'm very excited about that. And to welcome California's newest state senator. And that's kind of a play on words a little bit because he's actually not that new because he was here before, but now he's back. And it's a new Senate and a new senator, our friend from the 36th Senate District in Orange County and a little bit of LA, Tony Strickland.
Thank you. Thank you. It's like when the Senate leader said, I'm back, it reminded me when I served with Schwarzenegger. He said, I'll be back. It's first of all, thank you all for taking time. I know you have a lot going on today. It's an incredible privilege to be back here in the state legislature. It was 27 years ago when I got sworn in to the state assembly back when I was 28 years old. And I have to say, my 10 years of legislative experience, including when I was here with Governor Brown, one time he told me he was better at the second round when he was governor, the second round, because he had the experience at local government as mayor of Oakland. I will tell you, my experience as being mayor of Huntington Beach is one of the most privileged positions I've ever had. To be at the local government on the city council as mayor of Huntington Beach was a privilege. So you add my local government experience, my 10 years of legislative experience, I think I could hit the ground running day one here. I always had a philosophy that politics is a game of addition, not subtraction. I've always had the philosophy that, we could agree to disagree without being disagreeable. And that's not going on too much in politics of today. I'm hoping that I could bring what I call old school politics back to Sacramento, where you can fight on certain issues, but then you find common ground in others. One example is Il Cedillo is one of my best friends, and Nicole Parra, who was on the Democratic side of the aisle. They flew up here to see me get sworn in. Just because we disagree on some issues doesn't mean that we can't find common ground in others. Let's be clear. I'm going to fight. I'm a fighter. The reason why I got elected to come up here is I'm going to bring common sense back to the legislature in California. I believe we've been on the wrong path. When more people are worried about tampons and men's bathrooms instead of having infrastructure or water storage or keeping people safe, I think we're on the wrong path. I think California currently is on the wrong path. When you look at our history, it's the first time since the gold rush where more people are leaving the state than coming in. Think about that. We live in an oasis. We have the most beautiful weather in the world. People are going in the middle of the desert of Texas and Arizona. They're going to the humidity of Tennessee and Florida, and they're going to the cold of Idaho because this legislature has become economic development agencies for other states. We need to be more business friendly. We need to do what we can to build our infrastructure. Right now, our infrastructure is crumbling, and we need to get back to the basics of governing and keeping people safe. The most essential role of government is public safety. I will always put public safety first. And I'm here also to fight for those common, hardworking families. Every year since Governor Newsom's been here, he's raised the gas tax. That's a tax that falls disproportionately on hardworking California families. A lot of families across the state are living paycheck to paycheck. They can't afford that gas tax. At the end of the day, a lot of people in California have to decide between a gallon of milk and a gallon of gas, and that's unacceptable. We need to represent hardworking families. And some of these mandates that come around in terms of EVs or cars, look, not everybody can afford a $45,000 car. And I think this legislature has been out of step. I'm hoping I come back here and get back to common sense governing for all the people of California. So I really appreciate it. I'm looking forward to working with each and every one of you. And it's such a privilege to be here. And I would be remiss if I didn't mention my family. My wife, Carla, the reason why I went back to, if those of you know my background, I represent a different part of the state. I married a Huntington Beach girl. In fact, I was teaching at USC. My son ran out of the tunnel with the USC football team, and I sat right next to her. She was on a date with someone else. And when her date went to the bathroom, I asked her out. And then we ended up falling in love and getting married. That's what brought me down to Orange County. And then my kids, last time they were here, my last speech on the floor in the Senate, my son was right next to me. Tiny Tony is what we call him. It's not too tiny anymore, but he was this high. And I said, my last speech was of no vote on the high-speed rail. And I said, when I drive him to college, they're going to ask why they have a train that goes from nowhere to nowhere. I said that on the floor. it's almost to fruition. He's a junior in high school now, and that no vote was almost it was spot on back then. So I want to thank my family. Ruby, you're the apple of my eye. There's nothing quite like Daddy's little girl. She softens me up, and she brings a lot of perspective. And I think I come back to legislature with a different perspective. And I'm just trying to make the next generation better. My dad always taught me, who was a career military soldier, that it's up to every generation to lead the next generation with more opportunity. I do believe this is the first time in California history where that's in question. Every generation before us has met that challenge. The real challenge is, are we going to leave our kids and grandkids with more opportunity? My goal by being here is making more opportunity for my kids, your kids, and their grandkids. And that's why I'm here, and that's why I'm trying to fight for people of California. So with that, thank you so much. By the way, I don't know if you want to say a few words, but Suzette and I worked together. I wouldn't have been the Senate in the first round. I won by 800 votes, and she was my round person in San Clarita. She's the one that put me over the top to be here last time. So Suzette, I don't know if you want to say a few words.
Yes, welcome. I haven't been this excited about double digits since I turned 10. So here we forward to it.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, as myself, a senator from Orange County, I am here to welcome and congratulate my friend Tony Strickland as a 10th member of our Congress. To set the record straight, I was 10th originally. And back down to 9th because Jaron Nguyen, she resigned. And now he claimed my title of a 10th senator. This is one step at a time, but surely we need to reclaim the majority one step at a time, and setting the balance of the power at the state legislature is very important and a key thing for California to turn around with the policies, right policies. That's what I've been campaigning during my campaign season. But with this special election, he gets all the attention and the individual swearing in. I'm so envied because with so many 20 different senators, I was hidden in the crowd. But we didn't have this kind of a fancy opportunity. But I think you deserve to have this attention today, and then I look forward to working with you, and someday soon we can achieve balance and Republican side the majority. Thank you, all my friends from my Orange County. I see several of you are attending here, and thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Happy to answer any questions if you have any.
Welcome back, Senator.
Thank you.
Congratulations. Daniela with Spectrum News. You mentioned a lot of issues that you're passionate and you want to get working on. What's the top issue that you want to tackle and hit the ground running?
Well, I say common sense, because back to the basics. First of all, the most central role is public safety. I was a leader in Prop 36. There are very few initiatives that actually pass every county in the state of California. And that says a lot because the legislature, as you know, you were here, they try to keep that from the people, from voting their voice. And I tell you, that's one of the issues that were out of step. The fact of the matter is, it was overwhelmingly passed by Democrats, Independents, and Republicans. And I'm hopeful that we follow through on what we did in 36 in terms of funding and everything else we need to do to keep people safe across the state of California, because public safety is the most essential role. Criminal and infrastructure, there's a lot of mandates coming here, but we don't have the infrastructure to meet those mandates. And an example is if everybody in California had an electric car and plugged it in at the same time, we'd have rolling blackouts throughout the state. We don't have enough energy. We're not producing enough energy. I think we need all the above energy. I've always pushed that we have everything because I think it's not only an economic issue, put people back to work. It's an issue that's of national security, and it's an issue that we can fix day one. All we have to do is work hard together to produce more energy. But a lot of times we have these mandates, and those mandates can't work based on where we are today. So crippling the infrastructure, and again, those are the two top ones. But the gas tax really bothers me. because there are families. This notion that people are not going to drive their cars in California hasn't worked. Ever since Governor Brown was governor the first time, they said, okay, if we don't build, people won't come. Well, people are here and they're choked up in traffic and they're not getting out of their cars. A lot of times, when you look at cities like Philadelphia, Chicago, New York, they're built up. They're built around the horse carriage. But the way LA and Southern California is built, it was built around the automobile. The reason why mass transit works in a lot of the cities like New York is because you could just drop off one block from where you have to go. You can't do that here in California. And so we need to be recognizing that a lot of hardworking families have to have cars in order to get to their job. And when you raise that car tax, it falls disproportionately on them. Rich people can afford it, but it's those people living paycheck to paycheck that can. So I'm going to tackle the gas tax right out the gate as well. Anything else?
Yeah, I'm Lindsay from Politico. I'm curious, the governor's popularity right now is hovering above 50% in the state, according to the latest public polling. Do you see attacking him as an effective strategy for Republicans in tight purple districts?
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think he's done a horrible job. In fact, no one was more responsible for Gray Davis getting recalled than me. I did a lawsuit, Strickland v. Davis, back when I was in the assembly, and a forced disclosure in energy contracts that led to his recall. But I'm telling you today, I would kill for Gray Davis compared to Gavin Newsom. Gray Davis was a little bit more fiscally responsible. Look, in California, we don't have a revenue problem. We have a spending problem. My last state budget was total $98 billion. Since then, we've increased the budget 3.5 times when population's leaving. And we don't have 3 times better infrastructure. We don't have 3 times better services than we had back then. I think the governor's on the wrong track. I think a reason why he's launching his new, podcast is because he wants to reform the debate. I do think that candidates like myself, when they ask me who I'm running against in my district, I say Governor Newsom. I didn't mention my opponent's name. I mentioned Governor Newsom. I ran against Governor Newsom's policies. And that's why I got across the finish line in the first round.
Question for you, Senator, and maybe the minority leader. Nicole Nixon of the Sacramento Bee. Higher numbers for Republicans here in the Senate and the Assembly than in recent years, but you're still in a super minority. How do you hope to make change if the votes aren't there?
Well, our hope is the votes will be there. And our job, I believe, is to go in areas that are not used to hearing Republicans talk. I think one of the most fundamental things that hurt our party was the top 2 in the primary. You're going to see me represent my district extremely well, but you're also going to see me talk in LA County a lot, because I think a lot of people don't hear our philosophy. I'll give you an example. When I was teaching at USC, I gave a talk about how increasing the minimum wage cuts jobs for young people who are 16, 17-year-olds just trying to get work experience. Not every job was meant for a family of 4. I can't tell you how many students came up to me and said, I've never heard that philosophy before. I think a lot of people haven't even heard our philosophy. And I think there's an opportunity where we are today that we haven't had a long time. I think the failure of Mayor Bass and the failure of what has happened in Southern California, more people are seeing that their governing is not working. It doesn't mean they're coming to our way. It means we have an opportunity to talk about policies that I believe this caucus is going to grow dramatically in the next 2 or 3 years.
So I just want to, the way I took your question to mean is in the building, right?
I'm sorry.
Oh, that's okay. But because that was a good answer too. And I think it's kind of be what Senator Strickland said out when we're talking to voters, and then in the building, it's again what he alluded to earlier is building relationships across the aisle in the building. And believe it or not, I'll speak for myself, but I think my Republican colleagues agree with me. There's a bunch of sensible Democrats that we all try to work with. And I think some of those sensible Democrats heard from the voters on November 5th that they're fed up with the cost of living in California. They're fed up with the public safety situation in California. They're fed up with a myriad of issues that we've been right on for a long period of time. But now we're able to have those conversations because their eyes have been open to, we got to deal with these issues. So I can tell you from personal experience this year, I've had more robust and positive conversations with my colleagues across the aisle than I've ever had. And I think we'll be able to pick up those votes that you're talking about. We're going to be able to build a coalition of people that actually want to do the right thing for all of California and start to move the ball on fixing a lot of these problems.
Jackie, I want to wait in the office. I think it's really important that we also look at the November election, right? In California, Republicans have picked up voter registration has increased in every single congressional district, every assembly district, every Senate district. My district, a purple district, voted for Trump. In the old boundaries, they voted for Brian Dolly for governor. So we're seeing a movement, a shift. We flipped 3 seats, 1 in the Senate, 2 in the Assembly this cycle. And that, if I believe, is a clear mandate from the voters that they want the legislature to focus on the issues of affordability, the issues of safe communities, the issues of success in education. This was a very clear mandate. And here in the legislature, for the first time ever, just even when I was in the Assembly, compared to the time when I was in the Assembly, I'm hearing my colleagues on the other side of the aisle talk about affordability. The next step is actually passing policies that address that issue.
Well, yeah, I can also add. I didn't know you meant here in the building. So, my history. I'll fight on some issues and agree to disagree without being disagreeable. But I also look where we have common ground. One example, Paul Koretz, who represented West Hollywood. You can be more far left than Paul Koretz when I was here. He was a great guy, and we got along. We were very close friends. We found out that we agreed on animal protection issues, and so we worked on some of those issues together. I ended up being the Maine Society Legislator of the Year because I found common ground. As an example, I'll fight on some issues I might disagree with, but I'm always going to look to my colleagues because my job is to get things done for my district in California. I'm not here just to fight, even though I am a fighter. I'm here also to get things done. You can't get anything done as a Republican if you can't work with Democrats. And so I know that I will work to find common ground, but I'll also try to bring more of the common sense back to our sense and try to bring some balance to the legislature.
Can I add? Yeah, the reason I feel that the Republican Party Congress is so optimistic that we can achieve our balance, or if not the majority pretty soon, is that looking at my experience, my district, 37th, everything was, my odds were against me. Now think about I fought against a Democrat incumbent, and the voter registration in my district was plus 2 Democrats. And my opponent raised over $10 million campaign fund. I had, with the IEs, everything was $1.7 million with the latest data that I got. And what was the outcome? I beat the incumbent. So the common sense approach that they experienced at my assembly, what kind of policies I supported, that convinced the voters that the right candidate is right for our district. So not just a party. So voter education in the future, with the right education to the opponents who have been lifetime Democrats, I think that they are coming around. So that's the reason I think with our effort, it is a very possible we can achieve our goal soon. Thank you.
Hey, thanks for being here. I'm looking forward to working with each and every one of you. I appreciate you taking the time. Thank you.